This is the 2025 BMW M340i, a car that is unanimously loved all over the world by driving enthusiasts. And for 2025, there have been some subtle changes. You might not see them on the outside, but they are there under the skin. Exterior changes would require a keen eye. There is a new paint option dubbed Arctic Race Blue as seen on this car, and it also gets new blacked out alloys with red brake calipers. The rest remains as is. The sharp LED headlamps, sculpted bumpers, the reasonably large grille and the dimensions. Towards the rear, the diffuser and the angular exhaust tips have also been retained as they were. The more noticeable differences though are when you start driving it. Now before I tell you what's changed, let me tell you what's not changed, and that is that stonking B58 engine. 3 litre, straight 6, 374 horsepower, 500 Newton meters, and it is just rapid. Power delivery is instant thanks to a 48 volt mild hybrid system as well that assists during acceleration. And this engine is just brilliant. Brilliant is the word. Now there is plenty of performance even in the more docile comfort mode. Eco Pro obviously chokes down the power, and it is best used in the city. But when you get into Sport or Sport Plus, that is when the engine really wakes up. Response is immediate. Power is on tap. And that exhaust. Now it is an X-Drive, so all-wheel drive, power goes to the front and the rear. But it's no secret, the bias is towards the back. And that you can definitely feel in the corners. This does not stick and dart like an Audi S5. It is a handful. If you're not paying attention, it can get you in some serious trouble. The handling is razor sharp and it has the direct steering feel you'd expect from a performance sedan. 374 horsepower might not feel a lot, but when you get on it to exploit our roads, it is more than enough. 0 to 100 is a quick 4.4 seconds. And if that's not enough, the tunability of this engine, the B58, is just incredible. A simple remap and just a little bit of electronic helping hand, and this thing can push a lot more. And what complements this engine is, of course, the good old 8-speed torque converter, but still absolutely rapid when it comes to shifts. Especially in sport mode, you can obviously customize all that into the iDrive, have the shift speed according to your liking. And if not, you can gain full control using these lovely manual paddles. Just go into sport and tug along the paddle, that will engage the manual mode, and then you're on your own. Now obviously in Sport Plus, the gear shifts are aggressive, but if you want to just tame it down, you're driving in the city bumper to bumper, you don't want those jerky reactions, you can tone that down as well. And what's really nice is that it's not too complicated. You can adjust the settings in one go and just leave it at that. You don't have to every time go into menus and sub-menus trying to figure it out. BMW have set up the car perfectly as is, but they have also left room for a little bit of personalization, little bit of preference towards performance and comfort, and it just goes to show how beautifully balanced this car is. Let's come to the change. On this new version, what you now get is the adaptive M suspension as standard. So adaptive dampers, and they are extremely responsive. The amount of adjustment that's going on within milliseconds. It reads the road, it reads the chassis position, it reads the throttle position, and just makes changes accordingly. As a result, there is very little flex and body roll is well contained. That said, the stiffness is very much there. This of course is in Sport Plus mode where you'd want it to be firm and hugging the corner, but in the city it needs to adapt to the bad roads. With this version, they have attained that. In comfort mode, the suspension is pliant and those sharp, hard edges are not felt anymore. And where that suspension really comes into its own is through the corners. This thing is beautifully balanced, almost 50-50 weight distribution. It absolutely brings a smile immediately. Ground clearance is also not an issue even over medium-sized speed bumps and with a fully loaded car. Now this is only a minor update. So an LCI in BMW term is life cycle impulse. Basically their talk for facelift, and this is the LCI of LCI. So not a lot that has changed as you saw on the outside. Even on the inside, the layout has not changed too much. You have that big curved screens with the two displays. Very slick, very responsive to use. They get the new updated UX UI, so a bit more convenient. However, yes, AC buttons are still gone inside. And in terms of physical buttons on the dashboard, you have nothing. Usually with media cars, we get it for a couple of days and that's about it. We have to do a full review in 2 days. This car I've had for almost a week now. And to be honest, while this whole everything in the touchscreen is a problem, you sort of do get used to it. The good thing is that the AC buttons don't move from where they are. So even if they're on the screen, they're in the same location. So after a few days, you do get used to just pressing that part of the screen. So it's not as big of a problem over time. What I also really like on the interior are the seats. They are hugely comfortable, plenty of adjustment. You get an extendable under thigh support as well. So that's a big plus, especially if you're long legged, and just makes the overall driving position so much better. The steering, of course, can be adjusted to rake and reach. Seat goes nice and low. You can have the steering right at your nose level, eye level almost. If you like that low slung feel from behind the wheel. And if you aren't behind the wheel and find yourself in the back seat, there isn't much to complain either. There is decent room for 2 adults, while the middle passenger will curse the center tunnel. The boot is spacious, and despite getting 19-inch run-flat wheels, you have a spare wheel as well. Full marks then for practicality. And at 75 lakh rupees, this thing is like nothing else. Nothing else in this price bracket offers what this does. Now you might argue the Audi is there, but in terms of the handling, it's just not as poised as the 340i. The Merc just doesn't have the engine. That 4-cylinder will never match up to this beautiful 6-cylinder. So in terms of which car does everything well, it's no question. I honestly hope they just keep doing LCIs of this. Don't change too much. Don't go for plug-in hybrid. Don't go for extra power. Don't just leave it as it is. It is at a beautiful spot. Just keep doing these updates. Change the headlights once in a while. Do something with the interior. Give a tan upholstery. Give a panoramic sunroof. Do those minor. Let the mechanicals be intact, because that is what makes this car absolutely perfect. And in the BMW lineup right now in India, if there is a fun to drive fast BMW, it's not the M5, not the M3 or the M4. It is this car that you will enjoy the most. It might not have the bragging numbers of its bigger M cousins, but it sure does complete justice to its M badge.